Everybody, our special presentation on the museum's Sea Turtle Conservation Action Program will begin here in the Daily Planet Theater in about 1 more minute. Grab a seat and join us anywhere on the first, second, or third floors. We'd love to have you for our special talk all about sea turtle work here at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, beginning in 1 minute.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Are we ready to go ahead and start? I'm not sure if the live stream is all up and running. All right, looks like we're good to go. So we are a team of interns here at the museum for this fall, and we're going to be presenting on the Sea Turtle Conservation Action Program here at the museum. And so my name is Sarah Kelso, one of the interns, and this is a VetPack Museum Medicine internship, which is in partnership with NC State and their VetPack program, which helps aspiring veterinary students to get connected to different resources in the veterinary world. And so this can lead to, studying large animals or exotic animals, and for us that meant getting to be up close and personal with museum animals. And so we decided to study the Sea Turtle Conservation Program here at the museum. And this is something that we'd like to do every semester, that we have an internship here at the museum. So groups will choose various aspects of the work that happens here at the museum and create a presentation on it to be able to share that with the public. And we are doing that for the Sea Turtle Conservation Program. And once again, my name's Sarah Kelso. I graduated from Duke University in 2023 with a degree in environmental science and a certificate in human rights.
My name is Emma Williams. I'm in my 3rd year of undergrad at NC State University. I'm majoring in zoology and minoring in entomology, the study of bugs.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am a 3rd year at NC State. I am majoring in animal science, minoring in zoology, and Spanish language literature.
So we decided whenever we were kind of prepping this presentation and starting our project that we wanted it to be a bilingual presentation to appeal to multiple audiences. We wanted to be able to talk about what the museum has done thus far for sea turtle rehabilitation to as many people as we can. And so on each slide we will have some phrases in Spanish, and then Victoria will also give a summary in Spanish at the end of each slide.
With that being said, bienvenidos a la presentación del programa de conservación de tortugas marinas del Museo de Ciencias Naturales de Carolina del Norte.
So a little overview about this Sea Turtle Conservation Program. So this is something that we've done in partnership with the Star Center, which is on the coast of North Carolina. And so that program will collect sea turtles that have been stranded on the beaches and rehabilitate them, but some of those turtles need longer-term or more intensive medical care, and that's where we were able to provide support for them. And we've been working with them since 2016, and we've had sea turtles through many of the years since then, including in the spring, we released a couple sea turtles this year. And we've had 26 turtles that have come through this program of a couple different species. We've had Kemp's Ridley sea turtles as well as green sea turtles. This has also been a really great outreach opportunity. We've been able to get a lot of staff involved here and interns and veterinary students here at the museum that otherwise wouldn't have had this exposure to sea turtles.
Un poquito sobre el programa. Nosotros trabajamos con otro programa que se llama Estrella. Está para el oeste de la Carolina del Norte. Nosotros hemos visto 26 tortugas en el tiempo que hemos tenido el programa. El programa está abierto hace de 2016 a 2025 y ahora en el invierno queremos tener más tortugas. El programa está acá porque queremos abrir más puertas para estudiantes veterinarios, los personales acá en el museo y también internos que están acá.
So as I mentioned, we've seen 2 sea turtle species come through this program, but there are 7 sea turtle species in the world, with about 5 of those species coming to visit North Carolina. And we've specifically seen the Kemp's Ridley sea turtles and the green sea turtles. And these have come to us all as juveniles that have been collected from the coast. And in order to be able to have these sea turtles in captivity for a little while, since they are wild species, we do have a permit with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, which outlines the care necessary for us to have these sea turtles and some enclosure needs that you'll hear a bit about later, as well as being ensured that we have a veterinarian on staff to care for them.
Acá en el museo hemos visto casi 2 tortugas, especies de tortugas. En el mundo hay 6 tortugas. Nosotros, para tener las tortugas acá y trabajar con las tortugas, tenemos que tener un permiso especial con el Estado, pero que también es federal.
So why do these sea turtles coming to us, and specifically, why are they coming to us during the colder months of the year? And so this is because a lot of these sea turtles go through what's called a cold stranding event, which is when water is abruptly dropped below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and this causes a shock to the sea turtle system and slows down their metabolism to where they're not able to function normally. So this may lead to them kind of floating towards the top surface of the water or getting stranded on the beach, and not being able to get back to that warmer water to regulate their body temperatures. And this can lead to other things such as boat strikes because they're just floating on the top surface of the water and they're closer to where those boats may be, or frostbite because they're being exposed to that cold air, and pneumonia as well.
¿Por qué estas tortugas necesitan nuestra ayuda? Cuando hay un fenómeno, cuando las aguas en el oeste se frisan, llegan abajo de 40 a 50 grados en un tiempo muy rápido y eso causa a las tortugas a entrar en un estado de hipotermia. Entonces vienen a nosotros para ayuda a preparar para salir de nuevo y hacer tortugas felices.
And so one of the sea turtle species that we've seen, as I mentioned, is the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle. And so this is a species that is critically endangered. So it has a small range compared to other sea turtles. And so you'll find it in the Gulf of Mexico, as well as up and down the east coast of the United States. So it's especially important that we are supporting this population and making sure that any individuals that come into us or come into any danger, that we are able to help them and get them back out to keep those population numbers rising. We've had 6 of these individuals come through the program. And a fun thing about them is that they are one of 2 species of sea turtles that do something called aribata nesting, which is when the sea turtles' females gather as a group off the coast, and then they arrive together during the day on the beach in a group. This is thought to maybe help protect them against predators because they can seem less vulnerable if there's a large mass of them working together. They are also the smallest sea turtle species, averaging about 2 feet long as adults and getting up to about 40 to 50 pounds.
La primera especie de tortuga que nosotros trabajamos con es la tortuga lora. La tortuga lora viene a nosotros como jóvenes y están en una lista de especies que están en mucho daño en el mundo, y entonces nosotros queremos protegerlas y queremos que estén mejor en el mar. La tortuga es la más chiquitita, la tortuga lora es la más chiquitita tortuga de las tortugas marinas y miden a 2 pies en largo y 40 a 50 libras en peso.
And the other species of sea turtle is the green sea turtle. And this species recently had their conservation status changed in several parts of the world. They've gone from endangered to no longer being considered endangered. So we're hoping that this means that their population numbers are rising and is overall a good thing for the species, but we are keeping our eye on that status. We've had 20 of these juveniles come through the program. They are the largest hardshell species, getting up to about 4 feet long or up to 400 pounds. Because we've been seeing juveniles, luckily we haven't had to deal with any that have been quite up to the 400-pound range.
La segunda tortuga que hemos trabajado con es la tortuga verde. La tortuga verde en los meses, hace 2-3 meses, que no está en peligro más. No sabemos por qué los números muestran eso, pero estamos felices que están mejores. Son la especie más grande de tortugas marinas. Pueden llegar hasta 400 libras y llegan hasta 4 a 5 en pies.
And this is a graph just showing the breakdown of those two species. So here we show that we've had quite a few more green sea turtles than we've had of those Kemp's Ridley.
En este gráfico puedes ver la cantidad de tortugas verdes a tortugas loras que hemos tenido en el programa. Tenemos casi 20 tortugas verdes y de esos 6 tortugas loras.
So as previously mentioned, we follow guidelines and permits from the North Carolina and federal level. So the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service necessitates specific tank requirements, lighting requirements, all of that. So for tank requirements, it needs to be a specific size, and that's based on the carapace or top shell length of the turtle themselves. So it has to be about like 7 times the size of their carapace, and then similarly for the depth of the water as well. And then the tank should be free of any rough surfaces, anything that they could get trapped in. And the lighting that you place for them also has to reflect the natural photo periods and seasonal lighting that they'll have out in the wild. And most importantly, they specifically state for these cold-stranded turtles that they need to have a gradual increase in water temperature, and it's recommended that it should be 5 degrees Fahrenheit.
En el cuidado básico de las tortugas, todo está mandado federalmente. Nosotros lo que hacemos es asegurar que la tortuga esté en un tanque que es 6 veces más grande que la tortuga y que no hay nada en el agua que puede dañar a la tortuga porque se están mejorando, no queremos que se dañen. En eso, algo que tenemos que tener mucho cuidado con es la temperatura del agua. La temperatura del agua va a ser muy frío cuando llegan acá porque es en lo que estaban, pero cuando salen de aquí queremos que esté a la temperatura ideal para la tortuga en el environment.
And so also in terms of care, their diets that we give them is incredibly important for their growth. So Kemp's Ridleys naturally out in the wild are going to be mostly carnivorous, while the green sea turtles are going to initially start off as omnivorous. They're going to eat a little bit of everything, and then they'll gradually become more herbivorous as they grow up. The turtles that we do get here at the museum are juveniles, so the green sea turtles that we do see are going to be omnivorous, so that's what we try to address in the diets we give them. So both of these sea turtles here in the museum are going to be given fish, shrimp, also crab, romaine lettuce, and other vegetables. Romaine lettuce is a very important staple of the diets that we give because the nutritional value is similar to that of the seagrasses that these turtles are going to eat out in the wild.
Otra cosa muy importante para la tortuga es la dieta. Para la tortuga lora, ellas van a ser carnívoras por mucho de su vida y todo de su vida. La tortuga verde muchas las veces van a comenzar omnívoras y van a terminar siendo herbívoras cuando son adultas. Cuando llegan a nosotras, mucho del tiempo todavía son omnívoras. Entonces, eso es la dieta que vamos a seguir. Acá en el museo le damos de comer cangrejo, pescado, tipo de lechugas, y eso es porque hemos visto que la lechuga romana es mucho como el tipo de dieta verde que comen en el mar.
And so here we just have a graph of the weight trends in our first cohort from 2016. On the vertical axis, you're going to have their weight in grams, and then on the horizontal is going to be the time frame that they were here. The red line in the middle is the trend line, a big average of all of the various weights that you have here. And typically what you see is a kind of decline in their weight. The first weights that are on the graph are taken at the Star Center, and then they have a decrease once they get to us. That's typically because of stresses from transportation, but also whenever we want to get that initial blood work, we want to have them fasted, so it's more accurate blood work, kind of like how a human's going to go to the doctor and take fasted blood work. And then you will see a continued decrease, but that's usually because of all the nutrients and energy going towards healing their wounds. And then towards the end, you're going to see a large increase in body mass because they have healed those wounds and are putting that energy towards gaining weight that we want to see before we release them.
En este gráfico puedes ver que en el plano horizontal tenemos los días que la tortuga del primer grupo estuvo con nosotros. En el plano vertical puedes ver los números de cuánto las tortugas pesaron al comienzo cuando llegaron con nosotros, durante el tiempo que estuvieron con nosotros y al final cuando pudieron estar libradas. En ese tiempo puedes ver que el primero, o al comienzo de su estado acá, puedes ver que baja el peso de la tortuga un poquito. Podemos ver que eso es porque está en mucho estrés la tortuga, no está comiendo como necesita o toda la nutrición está yendo a mejorarse. Después ahí al final puedes ver que la tortuga sube en peso y eso es porque finalmente puede poner todo ese trabajo y la comida que está comiendo a crecer y no más a mejorarse.
And so for diagnostics and treatments, we are going to regularly do routine exams. That's where we're going to get our weights taken. Usually you will be able to see us give these physical exams in the window on animal health on the second floor. Just a typical head to tail exam, and then we will also do blood work and take radiographs. Radiographs are an important diagnostic tool for these turtles because you can visualize any possible pneumonia or any deep lesions from barnacles. And because of barnacles, you're going to see a lot of wounds that they present with, barnacles being one of them. And so that's kind of the main concern that we have is managing these wounds with different strategies.
Cuando lleguen acá, vamos a hacer muchos diagnósticos y tratamientos. Siempre lo que hacemos va a ser para la mejora de la tortuga. Nunca vamos a hacer más o menos de lo que necesitan. Cuando lleguen acá, algunas de las cosas que vamos a hacer son radiographs o análisis de sangre. Eso es para mejorar nuestro entendimiento de qué necesitan de nosotros y cómo la podemos ayudar.
And then here we just have a graph showing the length of stay for the various turtles that we have seen. The vertical axis is the days that they've spent, and then the horizontal is just all the turtles that we've seen, the names that they have. So in orange is going to be the minimum and maximum stay. At minimum, we have 19 days. At max is 162. So it's really a difference in weeks versus months. It just depends on how they present, like the wounds that they have, how they're responding to treatment, and then also are they able to gain that weight back and pass their exam to be able to be released.
En este gráfico, en el vertical, puedes ver todas las tortugas y los nombres de las tortugas que hemos visto acá en el museo. En el vértigo puedes ver cuántos días esas tortugas estuvieron con nosotros. ¿Por qué esto es importante? Puedes ver que la tortuga que ha estado el más tiempo con nosotros fue casi 162 días. Y la tortuga que estuvo lo menos tiempo con nosotros fue 19 días. Eso muestra que nosotros no tenemos un límite o un mínimo a los días que la tortuga tiene que estar con nosotros. Nosotros queremos que la tortuga esté al máximo que puede estar para estar libre en el océano.
And so with this care of wild animals, our goal is always going to be to release them back into the wild. And so one of the ways that we do that is by going out and doing boat releases. And so this might be closer to the shore or farther out in the Gulf Stream, depending on time of year, warmth of the water. And also just opportunistic, like depending on the weather that day, we might need to stay closer to the shore. But our main goal is just to get those turtles out there. And before they leave, once we've seen that their weights have increased a good amount and we feel that they're pretty stable, we will put a pit tag in them, similar to the way that you might microchip a cat or a dog. So we're not going to be able to track their movements, but if we were to have an injury or something occur to the same turtle and have them be collected and brought in again, we would be able to identify that turtle and know its previous history, which is pretty cool.
Un poquito sobre la locación de la liberación de las tortugas que nosotros hemos visto. Todo ha sido en el oeste de Carolina del Norte. Todo depende del clima del tiempo del año. Muchas las veces cuando hace más frío vamos a salir más para el mar en un bote y dejarlas salir por ahí, pero durante los veranos o el tiempo más calor de los estados de Carolina del Norte pueden estar libres solamente en la playa.
And this is just going to show a close-up of the coast of North Carolina, which shows the areas where we've released some turtles. So I did mention earlier that we've had 26 turtles come through the program, but you're not going to see 26 dots here because we often will transfer a turtle back to the Star Center or somewhere else to have them be in their final days of care with them and then have them take care of the release for us. But as you can see, we have some, pretty close to the coast, but then we do have quite a few dots that are also farther out.
Acá hay un gráfico con las libraciones de las tortugas más cerca al oeste. Puedes ver que no hay 26 diferentes puntos de todas las tortugas que hemos libradas, pero eso es porque algunas veces las tortugas vuelven a donde las trajeron o van como para Florida, a otros lugares así, dependiendo del clima del tiempo.
And to kind of bring everything full circle, we wanted to highlight a specific turtle. This is Prometheus. He was in the 2016 cohort, among the first that we have had here at the museum. He was found with barnacles and skin lesions, and he stayed with us for about 44 days. His story is important. Not only do we have footage of him being found, but also it just shows why this museum has this program. And we have a video on the next slide of how many of these turtles are going to present when they're cold stranded, and the last turtle in the video is Prometheus.
Este es Prometheus, fue la primera tortuga que nosotros vimos acá en el museo en 2016. Él es muy importante porque muestra por qué hacemos lo que hacemos acá en el museo. Él estuvo con nosotros para 44 días y él es muy importante porque tenemos el video de cuando lo encontramos y cuando lo dejamos salir y librarlo. En este próximo video vamos a mostrar cuántas tortugas encontraron en un día en 2016 en el oeste de Carolina del Norte, y Prometheus es el último en el video.
So in this video, this occurred in early 2016. It was a group of volunteers that canvassed the beaches here in North Carolina, and in one morning they found over 80 stranded sea turtles. When they present, they're going to have a bunch of different wounds. They're going to be very weak. Their metabolism is very slow. In this year, 2016, there was an influx of over 1,000 turtles at the Star Center down the coast. And that's one of the reasons why the museum took in turtles in 2016 YPFK.
En este video puedes ver un grupo que salió en 2016 y pudo encontrar casi 80 tortugas que estuvieron con hipotermia en el oeste de Carolina del Norte. Este video muestra por qué hacemos lo que hacemos. Puedes ver que las tortugas no están bien, que necesitan ayuda, no pueden nadar y están en la playa cuando de verdad tienen que estar afuera en el mar.
And to kind of end on a better note, but also to document the story that a lot of these turtles have. They're going to be found and present like this. But through the rehabilitation efforts of many centers, our plan and goal when we receive them is to release them back in the wild. And we have one more video to show you guys. It is of a release done in August of this year by Dr. Dombrowski, just showing how healthy and happy this turtle is to be released.
En agosto de este año pudimos librar muchas de nuestras tortugas por bote. Este es un video para mostrar cómo estas tortugas queremos que se vayan de nosotros. Queremos que estén felices y mejor y listas para ir allá afuera y en el mar.
Thanks to your help and the whole museum staff.
There he goes. Look at him go.
That is the end of our presentation, and we just wanted to give thanks to everyone that showed up, everybody that's watching on the live stream, also to VetPack for giving us this opportunity to even have this internship at the museum, and then also to the museum staff who made the rehabilitation action program possible.
Queríamos darle gracias a todos que están con nosotros hoy, ya en persona o en YouTube. Queríamos dar gracias al grupo Vetpack por tenernos a nosotros y darnos la oportunidad para poder hacer esto y aprender tanto del museo. También queríamos dar gracias a los trabajadores acá en el museo. Ustedes han ayudado tanto con nuestra educación y damos tanto gracias.
Thank you very much. Fantastic job. Well done, all three of you. If you're here in the room and you've got questions for our guests, our experts, just wave at me. I'll bring you a microphone if you're here on the first floor. If you're up on the balconies and you have questions, wave down at us and we'll call on you. You can ask your questions as well. And if you're tuned in to the live stream on YouTube, you can post your questions in the chat. We've got that pulled up so that we can share your thoughts and questions into the program as well. First question here's on the back row.
Of course, from the back row. Thank you, guys. A wonderful presentation. Very much appreciate it. Excellent work. I would like to ask one question kind of about when you received the turtles here. You mentioned the Fish and Wildlife standards for water systems and care and so forth. Do you have in the enclosures, are the turtles grouped together or are they separated, and how do you separate them? And follow-on question to that is, Prometheus showed a lot of barnacles. In the enclosure while I was here, did the epibiota come off, or did you actively remove it? Kind of describe how that part of it works, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so when we have the turtles come in, we keep each of them separated. We aren't quite sure at first, what might be wrong with each of them. We want to make sure that none of them have any disease or anything that could be transferred to the other sea turtles. So they may be, completely separate in different tubs that we have in our backup space. Or they might be separated by like a divider in the water. It really depends on the situation and the exact sea turtles. And the barnacles, I believe we removed them ourselves. No, Ashley's saying no. So they just fall off. Yeah, so as the sea turtles get healthier and they're renewing the shell material, and those barnacles will just fall off. Was that all of their question? I'm not sure if there's a... Okay.
Well, just how do the barnacles make the wounds on the turtles?
Yeah, so when the barnacles attach themselves to the shell, they're going to be holding on really tight and really cementing themselves to the shell. So when they're going to fall off, they're going to take some of that shell material with them. So it's not quite going to be like a gaping wound that's, bleeding and going into the sea turtle, but it will be a lesion that you'll see on the shell.
I had the same question, actually. Thank you for asking. How does a barnacle hurt them? So how do you feel you can take sea turtle information forward into the rest of your undergraduate, graduate, or veterinary careers?
I can answer this one. So we were not able to work with the sea turtles directly just because we were part of the fall internship section, but we are hoping that coming in December, end of December, beginning of January, that the museum might get some sea turtles in and that we might have the opportunity to work with them. Now that we've kind of solidified a relationship with the internship group and the vet pet group here, we hope to come back and work with them and volunteer because these turtles are a lot of work when they're here, and depending on how many we get in, they might need extra hands-on. So we are more than happy to do that and get to work with them. But also on an educational standpoint, it just kind of goes to show how the conservation effort is worldwide and how so many like little groups might take in a few little turtles here and there, but it really does help in the long run because on the coast, those programs are seeing hundreds and hundreds of turtles, and if we can just help take off that heavier load of a few turtles, we are doing so much for them and for the sea turtles, especially because most of the sea turtles are endangered. So any help towards those sea turtles helps in the long run.
In the video, it showed that one stranding had about 80 or so sea turtles. So besides the museum, which has a certain amount of housing capacity, where else do they go in North Carolina? Do you know of those?
So we know there's 2 on the coast that are very solidified. It's going to be Star, and then do you guys remember the second one?
The Karen Beasley Center, which is going to be more north of the coast.
Topsail, yeah.
No, more south of the coast.
Yes.
Relative.
So those are the 2 big ones. And then, of course, there's little programs all over North Carolina that'll take them in. And the reason that they come to us specifically or that we are such a big help is because we have a vet on staff 24/7 that can help the more intensive cases. But STAR and the Karen Beasley program will see all of the thousands that come in during the year.
Thank you.
What is the demographic of male to female turtles that come in? Do you see more males or more females? What's being affected more?
It's kind of hard to know what sex they are, especially since they're juveniles, but it's not as easy to identify as like with the cat or dog, so it's kind of hard to say.
Thank you.
You have a question? Fantastic. Here you go.
Where's the
trash. You want to talk about trash, right?
the trash that get the sea turtle sick?
She's asking about what trash does to sea turtles when they eat it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So a problem that we'll see is that some sea turtle species really like to eat jellyfish, and something like a plastic bag floating through the ocean fills with water, and it looks a lot like a jellyfish. So those turtles get confused and they eat it, and that's going to be really bad for them. You know, I'm sure you wouldn't feel great if you had plastic going through your system. So that can really it's not a digestible material, so it's going to clog up their stomach, give them a tummy ache, and then it's going to prevent that digestive system from moving as it normally should. And just as the cold stunning, slows down their body and their metabolism, the sea turtle is just going to get really sick from that and stop being able to function as it normally would.
Well, let's give our experts one more round of applause. Excellent job. Fantastic work. Thank you for being here at the museum. Thanks for your presentation, but also thanks for helping us out for all of the work that we know that you put in, for the insights that you pull from the data that we have here at the museum to share with the Veterinary Sciences and Living Collections teams here at the museum. We like our interns a lot, and you help us out very much. So thank you very much. Big thanks to the Veterinary Sciences people, Dr. Dan Dombrowski and Shane Christian, for helping bring this together, as well as Ashley Earp, who helped bring today's presentation together, the digital media team, and our accessibility team and inclusion team, Hugo and Michael and Sam, who are still staffing the sea turtle table out here on the first floor of the Nature Research Center. So don't miss an opportunity to engage with them as well. Thanks everybody for being a part of this program. We hope we'll see you here again soon at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Bye everybody.